Hi everybody, this is Jamie. Welcome back. We're going to continue where we left off with the banking app. Now, when you go to use it, you'll find that only the transfer funds menu item works, and you get to a screen where you can transfer some funds. This is obviously bogus data and nothing really happens, but what it does do is when we hit this button, transfer funds, it makes a call to the server side. That call is then going to send a message confirming that the transaction is cleared, and it'll send it back to this user and it'll show up in this message box. So that's a synchronous reply that comes back, but what you saw pop down here was an indication that a message was received, and it'll tell you that it's cleared, and you can click here and you actually will invoke another piece of JavaScript code, so that's possible as well. And it's a good time to really mention that any application that you write that you want to have a message box for the user, you can. It's set to work by default, and we'll kind of cover some of that configuration stuff later. But you get the message box when you either click that envelope button, or when you're in the portal, you can long press and it will say, do you want to view the app or the messages? Okay, so you get this for free. You didn't have to write the this message view or this message list, or do any of the control UI functionality. Okay, so what happened? Let's go back. We transfer funds. In fact, we don't have to fill this out. We hit that button. We get a response plus this asynchronous response. Unfortunately, it happens so quick that you can't tell it's asynchronous, but this message is asynchronous that you get that says the transaction is cleared. Okay, so how do we do that? When we look at the code down here in the bank UI.js, you see that there's the button transfer funds. There's a tap listener, and then what happens is we go and we submit a request, and within SendingMessages you can use this nice facility. You just put the URL, and so we've written this transfer funds servlet that's in Groovy, and I'll show you that. And it calls that, and if it gets a success, then it prints that dialog box. Or it's really this alert style dialog box, and that's what happened. Again, I'll do it one more time. The box you get in the center here is what we've just put up. Okay, but we also got that asynchronous response. So now let's see what actually happens in that transfer funds servlet. So as we go through, we see that first of all, there's actually a request object that is the servlet request, as well as a servlet response and other fields that were injected by the Java server into this script, and that's the basis of a groovelet versus a servlet, but it's really just a servlet using Groovy. So what we first do is we get the user of the mobile app, and we get that via standard Java security, so that without doing anything, when you deploy this simple transfer funds code into the server, you already get the security wrapped around it that Silver Mobile provides. Secondly, we get this object that we're calling Silver here, which is an instance of an SM connector. And the SM connector allows you to send messages and post events. And what you do is, at least within a servlet, you can pass the servlet request, and then you'll get an authenticated SM connector. Next, we specify which app key this app is, and we can format subject and body to that message, and then we go ahead and send it right down here. Okay, so it's that simple. When we go ahead and look at the API for the SM connector, we see that there is this constructor which you use if you're outside of a servlet container. You give it the server username and password, and then again you can get an instance of an SM connector by passing in the servlet request, And then you can do things like send messages, post events and post-event batches, and so forth. Okay, this concludes this segment, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks.